Alright, since we did... Oh my god, it just started recording already. What is that?
It's in Buenos Aires.
Oh, nice. Fuck Argentinians.
That's it. Hey, that's nice. Fuck Argentina. So what are we...
Anything show.
Yep, there we go. So we talked about nothing last time. So this time...
Anything.
We haven't talked about the Marvel shows that are announced and are starting.
Holy shit, so... Okay, so yeah, we've got Moon Knight that was announced.
The long-anticipated Moon Knight.
Yeah, dude,
that had been, like, whispered about for, like, 5 years.
Yeah, and supposedly,
it's finally happening.
I heard that Keanu Reeves is in position to talk about him, or...
Keanu has been talked about for, like, every role.
Hold on.
People want him for Namor. Like...
Oh my god, I would love him for Namor.
Exactly.
Or...
He works for everything. Miss Marvel, let's make it Keanu. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, right. He's a little Pakistani girl.
Whoa.
Rami Malek is the other guy that I saw for Moon Knight.
I mean, he's a weird dude. He's got those weird eyes.
Yeah, I would.
It would
love
work.
him, and he's like, is he Middle Eastern?
He's. I don't know if he's half Egyptian or fully Egyptian, but I know he's
that would be
part
pretty
Egyptian.
fucking cool.
It would work.
Yeah.
Like thematically.
That would be pretty fucking cool.
I mean, it just would continue the role of Marvel of getting recent Oscar winners to take up weird characters.
Why fucking not?
I wouldn't be mad at Rami Malek. There's not a lot of people I'm like against for this role. It could, as long as they're
good.
Yeah, like you just have to commit to the weirdness that is Moon Knight because it's not going to be a normal thing.
I need to
like
have
the comparison
like
to Batman. I've always
breakdowns.
thought was stupid. Like just because he's like a dude with a cape,
yeah, and
like hangs out in a city at night, like that's not Batman. Like it's totally different. Moon Knight is not
psychopath. Like he is. He's a schizophrenic psychopath.
Yeah,
like with multiple personality disorder. Like no.
Yeah. So as long as somebody who can embody that, like I'm down for it. And I think Remy would be a good choice.
Yeah. We have no casting rumors for Miss Marvel.
Because I mean, there's no known pool of those actresses that you can pull from, unfortunately.
And I feel like you have to go like a true Pakistani American or Pakistani.
Oh yeah.
To do that, you can't just get.
So it's going to be a totally unknown person.
Yeah,
or
you can't just do like an ethnically ambiguous Indian person and just be like, oh, and it's like, no, that's not. How
I mean, they introduced
there's
her
gonna be
as
some fucked up shit if
Pakistani American.
Yeah,
or, like that's what Kevin Feige said.
Yeah,
like it's important too who she is.
Yeah,
so they can't like. Yeah, like you said, you can't get some Indian kid like that'd be.
Holy
dicey.
Shit! Yeah, man.
Fuck. Or as a guy was Herman Cain. Class, shout out to anyone who remembers who Herman Cain is. It's like, I don't know who the Prime Minister of Uzbekistan Stan.
What?
This guy was running for president.
Oh my god.
This guy was at one point leading in the polls to be to be the Republican nominee for president.
Holy shit.
And I butchered the quote, but it's, I don't know who the Prime Minister of Uzbekistan is.
Jesus Christ.
What a monster.
Yeah, and then we have what we have.
I mean, how naive we were.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, they were just going to go some complete unknown or some kid from like the BBC show.
Or we're going to find out like that somebody was like Pakistani this whole time and we're like, holy shit.
Selena Gomez is Pakistani.
Fucking hell.
And then the last show.
Wait, was that the last show? There was only
She-Hulk.
3, right?
We didn't say anything about She-Hulk.
That was only 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, She-Hulk.
Which I've been wanting. I don't know why.
Long time.
But I've just been wanting it.
Dude, for a fucking
I think it'd be really
long
interesting.
time. Yeah.
Be a courtroom show where she can literally break heads.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be super cool. And then there's no real cast rumors either, but the
It's just everybody being like, here's my pitch. I think that she would be cool.
Well, what's her name? The Mexican actor from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I forget her name.
Yeah, I don't know her name.
And I don't remember her character's name, but she's the one for people who watch that show.
That's not.
She's like super.
Sandberg.
Yeah, she's like super serious all the time.
Yeah.
But she wants to be She-Hulk, which I think would be fucking cool.
I mean, I don't really.
And it'd be interesting. I mean, they probably wouldn't do anything with race in it, but it would be interesting to see because she's just Bruce Banner's cousin. That she. I mean,
there's going to be a lot of people that would be like, "It's his cousin. How are you going to?
Yeah, how is she going to be Mexican?
Put her next to Bruce. Isn't just no related?
Yeah, yeah. So
I feel like they may not want to deal with that because there's a lot of idiots out there.
But here's the thing: Fanforstic did great job with.
Well, careful with that.
Wait. With what's his name? That actor.
Michael B.
Jordan. As a Human Torch and explaining that.
I mean, we can't take any lessons from that movie unless it's how not to make a movie.
Yeah.
Other names I've seen like Gina Carano, which like I get.
Whoa.
But that's just because she's like a strong woman.
Yeah.
I've seen Emmy Rossum, which I'd be down for.
I don't know who that is.
Have you seen the show Shameless?
No.
That's her. If you Google Shameless.
What's her name?
Or did you see? This is not going to be a good thing for her. But did you see the live-action Dragon Ball Z movie?
Oh my god.
She was Bulma.
What the fuck? Alright, wait, who's the actress?
Emmy Rossum. Emmy.
Oh, hey! She was Bulma?
Yeah.
Okay, now I remember Shameless. I know exactly what you're talking about, but okay. Yeah.
But I mean, it's all just random fan casting. But I'd be down for it.
And here's the thing, I was going to say, we don't need, like, a big, strong woman, because she's not going to be, like, or, like, MMA star or anything, like, because she's not going to be, like, hulked out all the time.
But, I mean, that's the thing about She-Hulk, is that she gets both. She can be She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And, like, this ripped, like, power lifter, but also not be some mindless monster.
Here's what I will say.
I wouldn't be surprised, like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
But, like, a woman who is, like, incredibly physically fit, but also wants to do, like, have some acting chops.
It will be interesting to see which way they go with She-Hulk, because we could get the always greened out She-Hulk. We could get the She-Hulk where she can be competent and hulked out and then revert back to regular She-Hulk. Or they can go semi-retcon her origin story in the TV show and do it where she traumatically becomes She-Hulk initially, and she's just a regular judge, blah blah, but then when she hulks out, she goes through a painful transformation to gray She-Hulk, where the reason that happened was in the comics it was post Civil War 2, but she was I think she got point blank hit by a nuke or something. Okay. That was supposed to kill Thanos, and she was in a coma in her Hulk form, and at some point towards the end of the Civil War 2 storyline, she woke up, but it reverted her back to her human form, which had never happened since her origin. And from then on, for a while, there was this storyline where she was trying to combat that trauma, and the gray She-Hulk was essentially a living form of that trauma, and it was super painful to transform into it, and her skin would rip, It was like super fucking crazy. You would see like the gamma, like cuts and everything, and she was just like Savage Hulk, like power level and like chaos, and just like destroy everything. Now, like at the end of that storyline, she is to the point, which would be cool to like do as like, I'm assuming like these series are gonna go on for seasons. It would be interesting to do like that as a first storyline. At the end of it, she like deals with that trauma of becoming Hulk, and she now can control the Hulk to a point where she's not like mindless savage gray Hulk. She just turns into a big green Hulk, but she's still kind of like dumbs down to the fucking like 5-6 year old language capability or capacity, and that becomes like her Hulk, which is what she is right now. She's not necessarily like the competent lawyer Hulk that she always is.
I don't know if I want that. I'd rather her just have the best of both worlds. I think that would make for a very different kind of Marvel show. Because you can also do a whole lot more with that. If it's just like really hard for her to transform. When she transforms, she's like a slobbering monster. Like, I don't get behind that quite as much.
Here's why I feel like that might not be the necessary route like that we get, and it's because one, we technically already have that with Professor Hulk.
Oh, what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And two, I feel like that's a lot of CGI for a TV show.
Not necessarily. It depends on who you cast, and like it could just be like you just do a great job with your makeup department and your clothing department, because she's not like She-Hulk doesn't wear like skimpy Power Girl outfit or something. Like she'll be in a business suit a lot of the time, and she could like rip off her sleeves or something, and then just like have like a gun show happening.
Yeah,
like you don't need to necessarily have her grow to 9 feet tall and do like a crazy transformation.
As a She-Hulk, she is about like 9 feet. That's the only issue, or 7 feet tall.
I just mean like in general, like not she doesn't need to be like Bruce Banner, where she actually has to expand her body's face and like do all this crazy stuff. Like she could just be, they can frame her well and have her just look like she's taller than everybody and like good makeup and good costumes. If it's more of the show, then I'm thinking of like kind of like Law and Order, but where instead of going back and forth between multiple people, she's doing both of it.
Yeah.
Like that's how I'm expecting the show to be.
Okay.
But I don't know, like again, they've given us nothing about these shows.
Oh yeah,
they're coming.
Yeah.
I don't even think we have dates.
No. Not for those. I think they were approximate time frames, but
because Feige even said after they announced like they haven't started any casting, like they've done like storyboard. Yeah. Like that's as far as they've gotten on any of these shows.
Yeah.
So it'll be like a year before we see anything.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the show that you were most anticipating for. The show that I was most anticipated for was the Ghost Rider show that Hulu was going to do, which they just announced they canceled. So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and is it going to be a good?
And was it going to be the current?
Oh yeah, it was going to be the modern iteration.
What's his name? It's not Robbie Reyes.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Robbie Reyes. Yeah.
I thought that was somebody else for some reason.
No, it was going to be Robbie Reyes. It was going to be based on the Texas border, which was going to be fucking cool. The guy who is cast as Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to continue that character over, who is Gabriel Luna. He's going to be also the new Terminator. He is also from Austin.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they just canceled it. I feel like that's not going to be the end of that character. I feel like somehow, some way, somewhere, and some why, we'll still get him. He's been very, like, extremely vocal about, like, wanting to continue that character. And it was just a good, like, there's just a lot you can do with it, I think.
I think Hulu would have been a good place for that. I know that they've been trying to force Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to cancel. Like, they've wanted that show done for, like, years.
Yeah, I think...
They've, like, changed the nights to Inconvenient Nights for that show. Like, they've done what they can, so, like, it's finally ending.
Yeah, I was going to say,
and
this is, like, the last season.
Like, I haven't watched the show in years, but I feel like the last thing I've heard that's been good was him as Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
So, I think him living on his own show on Hulu would have been something cool.
Mm-hmm.
Or, super spin-off, mash him up with the Mayans. Bring them into the MCU.
God.
Happy in the next Avengers movie. It's gonna be great.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
What? Too weird? Okay.
So, I guess the last real thing in MCU wise that we need to talk about is the fucking Spider-Man debacle.
I haven't done much research into the newest news about it. I just, like, see the highlight, like, the headlines that, oh, it's fixed and everything's okay. I don't know if you have any new knowledge about it.
I don't have anything.
Like, what the deal is?
So I just know that the deal exactly is that they have announced for a movie in 2021 that is going to be the third iteration of Spider-Man. So we have the date, and that evidently is going to be, now that I think about it, that probably will also be the last movie again for Phase 4.
Wait, 2021?
Yeah.
I mean, they have to be getting on that right now then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's going to be, the last movie of Phase 4 probably, so that gets tacked on at the end. And then that they agreed for one more feature.
So he'll be in, like, Avengers 4 or something.
Yeah, or in some kind of chaotic, like, completion of his storyline that they're just gonna write him off or, like, kill him off or something. Here's the thing. I read something on Complex.com, and then for some reason Forbes magazine, I don't know why the fuck they're announcing all this shit either, but I read in the new deal, that they've made an agreement to do another movie, to do another feature, and to keep Spider-Man indefinitely in the MCU. Which to me makes me feel like, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean we are going to see a Spider-Man 3 and then a feature where it's going to be this big, chaotic, like, Dark Avengers movie and it kills him off and then we get Miles? Or what's, like...
But, I mean, Miles is even still owned by Sony, so we can't...
Yeah, I know, but if it means inevitably, and we only have 2 features for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like, for me, that's like, okay, what does that mean?
I don't know. Like, I've never thought that Spider-Man was going to stay with Marvel. Like, after seeing the success of him in Civil War and him in Homecoming, and knowing where the contract was, I always thought Sony was going to be greedy as hell and, like, put their brand over anything else and just, like, not continue with Disney. So I wasn't too surprised. I was pissed. But I wasn't too surprised when they pulled him, because I knew they were always going to do that, because Venom worked overseas and made $1 billion.
Yeah.
And they want to just take all the success that Marvel gave them and just smash these two things together and burn it and watch it be awful, because Venom was a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is going to be terrible in the Sony universe. I'm happy that Marvel has him back for at least one movie. Finish this trilogy. Like, call the fucking third movie Spider-Man Going Home or whatever, or No Home or whatever. Like, finish that saga. I'd love for him to stay around, but I just can't, like, not knowing any of the specifics, I don't know. Like, I can't be too happy about the future.
Yeah.
I'm happy that he's back for now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't trust Sony. They're they've made one good Spider-Man movie since 2002.
Yeah.
Like, their track record's not great.
Here's what I ultimately think happened. We know what happened with the deal. And everything that I had predicted before the deal break was exactly like to the T what I had thought. Mm-hmm. Which was, we're going to not see him. There's going to be like contract disputes to negotiate. We're not going to see him for another like 3 or 4 years. Bingo. Fucking spot on. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have a whole bunch of off-world movies, a whole bunch of different movies, whatever, that's not going to incorporate him. Again, bingo, spot on. And then we're going to get like a deal that's going to bring him back for a couple movies, and then we may see another iteration of Spider-Man, which will be like a Miles Morales. Because here's the thing, Miles, it wasn't just like a hiccup event, like where it was like, oh, there's a black Puerto Rican Spider-Man, cool, let's all like have fun for a little bit, and then it kind of faded away. It's like, no, that is like, it's ongoing, and it's picking up more steam. More people are falling behind that, like, the love for that character, the love for that movie, and the second or the sequel to what was it? Spider-Verse is even becoming more anticipated.
Yeah.
So I think we'll do like 1 or 2 more Spider-Man Peter Parker movies, and then he'll either die out or something, and then we'll get a Miles.
Two things about Miles. Well, 3. 1, love Miles. Into the Spider-Verse is great. Miles was great. All for Miles. 2, we would just be in the same situation though, because Miles is a Sony property. Like, how is he gonna fit into the MCU? Like, it's gonna be a whole weird thing. Number 3, this is just a stupid MCU thing that they could probably change later, but they, in Spider-Man Homecoming, they said Miles was like 8. Yeah. And then they confirmed Miles got snapped. So he hasn't aged in that time. So he's still like 9 in universe.
How and when did they confirm?
They talked, like, there was just like a big thing where they asked a bunch of people like who got snapped and who didn't get snapped of like all these niche characters. Mm-hmm. And they talked about like people in Spider-Man's world, and it was like, when they explained how all of the kids in his class that went on that trip, they all got snapped except for like the hot Asian dude. And then there was like the Prowler, he got snapped, and Miles, he got snapped. Like, there was just a cacophony of minor characters that they acknowledged. Because I mean, they haven't even said Miles' name. They just said, yeah, I got a nephew.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, that means Miles, but they never said it by name. But they confirmed that he did get snapped. So it's going to be a while before we see a Miles.
But how do we know that was confirmed? That's the thing. Like, even though they talk about it,
this was like the people working on Spider-Man did this. This wasn't like Joe and Anthony Russo who were like, yeah, we don't have any connection to that. Fuck it.
Yeah.
So, but again, they change timelines all the time. They could change that. I'm just thinking that as of right now, I don't know. But the Spider-Man landscape keeps changing all the time, like in months and months. So who knows?
I think the way that... So here's the thing. So with the Sony deal, what ended up happening essentially, I think, is that the fans and the outrage was so big that Sony realized, like, fuck, like, it doesn't matter what movie we put out. This movie's gonna lose so much fucking money.
I mean, Disney was smart, and they were obviously the people who, right after the meeting was done, started talking to reporters, pitching themselves as these people. Yeah. So, like, Sony, when they were coming back with their own info that was not so hot about, like, Disney and Marvel, it was already too late because the narrative was already, they're taking our boy, and they're just being greedy.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, and at the end of the fact is, it doesn't matter. Okay, so here's the thing. Unfortunately, the reality is, it doesn't matter who was the bully or not, the fact is Sony pulled out, and Sony is the one that has a lot to lose by not having Spider-Man in the MCU. Because what Marvel can do is just low-key not mention him and have a whole bunch of movies that are just not on Earth, not in New York, whatever.
I don't think there's going to be a single movie on the slate that's going to be in New York.
Yeah.
Because even, like, Doctor Strange is going to be in the multiverse.
Yeah.
Everything else is nowhere near it.
Yeah.
So, when are they going to talk about him?
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, they would just not lose anything with it.
No.
I mean, fans would be, like, pissed, but...
And if they didn't put it back together, like, there were already reports about, like, what they were wanting to do for Spider-Man 3, and they were already saying, like, they've got 3 villains they want to put in the movie. And they're just, like, the entire narrative, if they released a Spider-Man movie without Disney, would just be, look at all of these mistakes. Mm-hmm. Look at this track record of shit for these Spider-Man sequels that Sony's done. Like, it would hurt them so much more at the box office than the money they would lose by including Disney in the box office revenue.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, Sony, I think, just had to come to reality, which was like, we gotta fucking just get this shit fixed now before we hemorrhage any more money. Because I think what ended up happening also was probably that they were seeing the gameplay for like their Spider-Man game decline.
They took a stock hit.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure they took it, not like 5 points, but I mean, there was like a noticeable, like, oh, this was announced, and then immediately a little bloop. Okay. That would get people on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah. Damn.
So, but hey, he's back.
Yeah, he's back.
Now.
And here's,
we'll enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, and I think here's my point and my thing that I'm waiting to see how Disney bullies Sony around more. But I think what they're going to essentially ploy is that they'll wait for the movie. They'll let it finish out. They'll let this like storyline finish out. Bring in Miles. And then just be like, hey, so you remember that deal? Yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter what the deal is. The fact is that we signed off on the contractual like rights to Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
What? I lost your train of thought there. What?
I think what they're going to try to do is find the loophole in the
Who's
contract, Disney and Marvel, to be like, yeah, no, we sold you the rights to Peter Parker, Spider-Man, not necessarily like everything else that has to do with him.
I think they would have pulled that trigger by now. Because, I mean, like, when they lost, like, when they sold Fantastic Four, they sold, like, the Fantastic Four and all adjacent people. That's why, like, people like Namor, no one really knows where they land because, like, he's sort of a Fantastic Four original character, but he's also sort of with other people, so, like, they didn't really know where he landed.
Namor's Universal. Universal owns Namor. They own the Hulk also.
Yeah. But, like, there's also just sort of, like, big umbrella things of... Namor might not have been the best example, but, like, all the people that, like, fall under the Fantastic Four umbrella are, like, owned over there. And all the people that are considered mutants or would be considered an X-Men character are over with Fox. Like, it's a more umbrella than, like, here's an exact list of every single name you have, because they couldn't, here's all the X-Men characters, then add a bunch of new X-Men and be like, hey, they're in the Marvel Universe, they'll go to the Xander school of gifted youngsters instead of the Xavier school. Like, they can't do that. So, I feel like they would have pulled that trigger if they could have stolen Miles already. Because Disney is Disney.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, my long story short is, you should accept my trade.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?